Once upon a time, there were two best friends. One of them had a computer and the other one sucked.
I want to note it on record. I was never in it for that.
For what, the dude fucking?
Yeah, the dude fucking. I was never in it explicitly for the dude fucking.
Then why am I here? I'm in it for the art. The art of dude fucking, not the action.
My libido has nothing to do with it.
It is simply for the titles. Fuck that. And welcome back to Chillin with the Villains.
What up, everybody? It's your boys.
The dude fuckers.
Fucking... We're back,
Dudes.
We're back again with the good, hot, off-the-press content. Coming to you live from where the fuck we live is, I don't know, these fat beats. Hit them with it.
Abuchi Kachi.
You're fucking fired.
No, okay.
We're all fired.
I would be surprised if any of y'all watching this knew this. Whenever Tokyo would be like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna lay down a fat beat in this back of like high school, he would just look at you and just go like, Abuchi Kachi, Abuchi Kachi. And cause a bunch of the other people we were with, would try to fashion themselves as beatboxers, right? One of them could actually do it, another one, Jonah could actually do it, but I forget what we fucking named him.
Oh, yeah.
He would just be like, you just have to be like, boots and cats and boots and cats, or nicotine back tea. And I'm just like, dude, shut up. You cannot do it.
Yeah, that was not real beatboxing. But that was the point of the joke, was just
Abuchi Kachi.
Abuchi Kachi. That's
anyway, we're the villains, and we're here with another delicious volcano bake meat to go straight up your ass.
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay, so I've made many references to them. This is way old school. It was from I forget what they called themselves as a group, but it was from the Pokemon Vietnamese Crystal playthrough by I forget what their group was fucking named, but it was a really popular. Hold, you distract them while I.
Oh, we're back to this.
Yeah. Seconds of distraction.
Hello, everybody. I'm not going to make the obvious repeat joke because it's for real. I'm serious. Behind you. Look behind all of you.
Delicious cinnamon. So, back in the day, how long ago was this? They played a Vietnamese translated version of Crystal version of Pokemon.
Oh my god, you're so burpy. Holy shit, it's still going.
No, it was done. I was swallowing spit at that point. Back in 2011, they put up two of them put up two videos of them playing through, and there was just wild mistranslations and everything. One of them was Cinnabar Cinnaburgers was translated as volcano bake meat.
That's incredible.
And there was I've said it a few times when we would play Pokemon. One of them would be congratulations, your Pokemon's evolved into whatever, but it translated to congratulations, your Manatter have attended graduate school. I fucking love the Vietnamese Crystal playthrough. I should rewatch that. But yeah, so that's where a lot of my references of it's deep. Deep
it's
in
ingrained.
there.
It's in your core.
Yeah,
memories.
much like the volcano bake meat going straight up your ass, as I mentioned. We're gonna put a funnel in there for. Never mind. I'll keep that to myself.
Yeah, you're getting imaginative with it. I feel like it doesn't require that much. You don't need to work out the logistics of how to do this. Volcano bake meat is not a real thing. I do want to note.
As I should mention, I'm in it for the art.
What? So what's something that you're actually in it for the art for? What's something non-ironically?
Oh, when I was doing lighting
design,
100% in it for the art.
Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically lighting design, not light operate. It was me being able to, and I can't believe I'm both about to quote our old boss on this. It was about painting with the light.
Yeah, I just liked making Jeff really bright on stage.
I remember that. Stage Jesus.
Yeah, I used to just there was this guy, and he used to
He's behind you.
the place where we worked at a theater, and we had a guy that would just like run children's shows.
Yeah.
And then before every show, he would always come out and he would talk to the people and give them a little spiel and be like, thanks for supporting the arts and having the kids. And he was just such a fidgety person that it was impossible to like light him on stage, because if you preset the lights for that little speech,
He would never be there.
he would never be there. He would just wander the fuck around. So I would always just like free hand the fucking lights whenever he was up on stage, and I would just like way too bright. Like, he can't see shit. I'm blinding him every single time.
So then, when Tokyo left and I took over the theater, essentially, I kept it going. And then when I was leaving, the person I was essentially leaving as the lead tech, I was like, listen.
If Jeff is ever on stage.
I was like, if Jeff is ever with his company on stage, whenever he makes his pre-show speeches,
just light that fucker up.
Yeah, no, I was like, he needs to be lit way more than everyone else. Like, follow him. Like, I don't care who's doing lights, you have to follow him with those brights.
And like the ongoing joke of that was just because he spent so many years wandering into darkness, we were like making up for the facts.
Yeah, so like when he would start moving, we would go to like another slider and just turn it way up and bring everything else down. There was one time I straight up followed him with our mover.
Anyway, it was a little blast from the past.
Should this just be a reminiscing episode?
We can reminisce a little bit. I mean, you were talking about like old YouTube channels. Like what's a channel?
Killplix.
Kiplix.
Yeah, do you remember Killplix?
Kiplix. I think it was Kiplix.
Either way.
It might have been Killplix.
Who cares what they were named?
Might have been Killpix. Kiplix.
It was Killplix or Kiplix. One of them. Either way, the lead guy, Austin, it was his YouTube channel. And what got him big was because he was playing Left 4 Dead as well as like modded, like downloaded stages and maps and everything.
Yeah.
Like with his friends and all that, which they came back eventually after they like broke up, and it was like last week tonight, and they weren't nearly as good.
No, and I forget what the other guy's name was. The guy who was like his best friend.
Jed, I think.
I think it was Jed.
Yeah, because Khan was like the Australian guy that was like clearly like the funniest of the group, but also like the edgiest. Like, I know they like stopped playing together because like he and Khan had like a big falling out or something.
So there was that, but then when they stopped playing together the second time, Jed like he came out and basically talked about it, because like people were like, what happened to the channel and what happened, like what really got them big in the first place was Austin made a kind of like a memorial video to like him and his friendships, and being like, these guys got me through all these hard times, and if we've been gaming together for years and years, we've been gaming together for like 10 years now, and like I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, right? So then when they broke up the second time, people were like, you guys were such good friends, what happened? Like, everybody got invested in your guys' like friendship,
yeah, like
not
friendship.
Just the funny gameplay, but like the fact that you guys were so tight knit and kind of like together in on this thing. And Jed pretty much put Austin on blast. He was just like, nah, like he got super angry and super mad all the time.
Yeah, I didn't start noticing that towards the end of the original run.
And it wasn't like jokey angry. It was like he's trying to farm content and it's not working. And so he's getting pissed. And he was like, in that moment, it was very much, the channel became much more of a business than a friendship. And that was like, he let it interfere, and I'm done with it.
Which good. Like, so as far as I know, he was a dick. Like, it stopped being a bit, because like apparently the whole big thing originally was that like Austin got super mad. This is from my understanding. I don't actually remember, so this is most likely absolute hearsay. Is that Austin was like getting legitimately mad at something, and Khan was like prodding him because he thought he was playing it up, and apparently like it was like a huge blow up, and then just like Khan stopped playing with them because Austin said some shit. And I think, like, Austin kept trying to date, like, the one girl in their friend group who would play with them. Jonna, I think her name was. And then Jed's brother, Cody, was like, I'm done with this shit, too. Like, the first time they all, like, broke up. Because I think when they came back, it was only Austin, Jed, and Cody. Or, and Khan, rather.
So, the back in the day YouTubers, right?
It's funny that we're talking about this because my roommate and I, like, a couple weeks ago, were talking about, like, man, what the fuck happened to, like, all those old school YouTubers are either coming out as, like, drug addicts, like, fucking creepy ass people, or, like, they're totally okay.
So a bunch of them kind of made it through. I'm going to say kind of. You know, you got people like PewDiePie who did his absolute damnedest to, like, ruin his career towards the end. And it was just because he didn't want to, like, do it anymore, and he didn't care.
Oh,
anymore.
I was that was like the second wave. I was referring to like Ray William Johnson, like Tyler Oakley.
I don't know what's happened to him since. I know he's doing YouTube again.
He sucks. I don't care.
But he went out on kind of a high note professionally, and I don't know if there was something wrong with like Equals 3. That, like, he did something fucked up in the background. I don't know any of that, but I remember when he, like, retired from Equals 3. And it was kind of like a nice, heartfelt moment. Like, I didn't hate Ray William Johnson.
I didn't actually hate him. I just didn't care for his content, but he was always there.
But the one that fucking sucked the most for me was probably, like, Tobuscus.
Yeah.
Because I religiously watched Tobuscus shit.
Oh yeah, we watched this shit all time. I will say, what I am glad is, so when it all started coming out that, like, Toby was a drug addict, he was manipulative, he was a terrible partner, one woman came out and be like, oh, Toby raped me, and then all the women who came out against Toby were like, no. Or like, no. Like, he might be a drug addict, he might be, like, emotionally abusive, but he's not physically abusive, he's not a rapist. Like, we're trying to do not, like, pull your own vendetta against him when we're all trying to, like, speak our truths.
But
I was like, damn.
And he like tried to do some shit since, but for the most part he just kind of like fell off the radar. And that one was super fucking weird to me because Tobuscus was huge. I mean, he was, like, competitively on the market with PewDiePie in terms of, like, channel size.
Well, he was the one who
viewership.
really got Minecraft, like, big.
Yeah, like, he pushed Minecraft super hard, as well as Happy Wheels. Although
yeah.
We'll give, we'll give credit where it's due. For Happy Wheels, a lot of different content creators were doing that, I think, when he picked it up. I don't think he was the first to.
But he was the first big push in his popularity.
But him and PewDiePie were, like, the two big fuckers on YouTube.
But you know what I will never forgive fucking PewDiePie, fucking Felix for?
Mm-hmm.
Making it okay for everything to be an Amnesia clone. Because I'll say it now. I'll say it fucking now. Amnesia sucks.
Okay, yeah. Actually, let's talk about that. That's a good shift.
Amnesia sucks.
No, so I played, for the longest time, I played every horror game that came out. And I mean all of them. Like, all the indie ones, everything. I was on Steam scouring.
We played, it's on our old channel, we played the original Slender.
I was, like...
And Slender Man.
50 pages deep on Google, right? Like, digging up whatever fucking horror game. We played...
We did a Let's British of the original Slender Man game. Not even Slender or Slender The Arrival or 8 Pages or whatever.
Yeah, this was the OG, like, 2.5D.
Tim Tam, Willy Wong.
Tim Tam's Shimmy Machine. Like, fucking... Anyway, like, I was deep into horror, and Amnesia... Ruined the whole genre. Yeah. So it also opened up the genre in a big way, which, like, I will give credit where it's due.
It made walking simulators popular, which...
So it made horror popular, and that was because it was one of the first horror games to pick up on YouTube, right? Like, people watched it. It was farmable content for creators, which in turn got people interested in horror. The problem is that it was essentially a walking simulator. You can call it a stealth game if you want to. I think you're wrong. You can call it a puzzle game even, but like...
You're less wrong, but you're still wrong.
Like, it was, at the end of the day, just kind of like a spooky walking simulator. And you could die, yeah. And walking simulators at the time, that wasn't really a thing.
But you can also just die in real life walking, so what's the fear in that?
But it spawned this whole subgenre of horror, which quickly overtook every other genre.
And they were all the same fucking game.
And they were awful. Like, just so bad. Dead Space was, like, good horror, right? The original Dead Space. The creepy, fucking good use of jump scares. Because contrary to what, a lot of people will tell you, like, jump scares have a place in horror.
Especially when employed properly.
Yeah, like, is it a cheap trick? Yes, absolutely. But when you are setting up your scenario properly and you're building the tension properly and you come to a crescendo, you can use that jump scare to pop off like a combat, right? Yeah. However, jump scares, because we moved into this like walking simulator fucking era, did become very, very cheap. They were a dime a dozen because it wasn't about like kicking off a combat or like unsettling you.
Yeah, it was just like
before you're supposed to
prepare for the jump scare. It's coming. Oh, we gotcha.
Whereas originally it was, kind of supposed to be like that. Let's shake them up and then have them complete a task.
Yeah.
Because it simulates actual panic, right? As opposed to just kind of scaring you a little bit and then we move on forever. Like,
so what my personal issue with Dead Space was when it shifted from being like a genuine survival horror to action horror, and with 3 specifically.
So,
and that one I fully blame RE5.
Unpopular opinion. I think that actually happened in 2.
That's fair.
Dead Space 2 is my favorite among the series, and has been since the very first time that I played it. Simply because you went into it with the knowledge and experience that you had from the first game, and they played off of that.
Yeah.
Spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Dead Space 2 and fucking wants to. By the way, it's 2024. You're fucking up. But when you go back to the USG Ishimura, it was so... It was just dread. It was dread incarnate.
You were like, I already know what happened here before, and I don't want to deal with that shit again.
And they did such a good job of, like, remember this? Remember where you were here? Remember what happened in this room? Is it gonna happen again? Like, they built that tension so deliciously. But the rest of the game, kind of an action horror. Even from the very like beginning, where you're in a straitjacket and you're having to like run through the fucking hospital. That's like the only part of the game that's truly kind of like a horror game.
I will
without the action.
I really, really did like how like the eye thing, because that shit genuinely grosses me out. Like, eye injuries, for me personally, genuinely gross me out. And I just like that they just put that in so early.
I got a lot to talk about this. So, fucking... This is actually one thing that I'm going to take away from Dead Space. I'm going to dock them points, but they treaded in the gore section.
Yeah, it was a lot of
They
body
were
horror.
a lot about the body horror, and they were a lot about the, like, look at how fucking wretched this thing is.
Very
right?
Junji Ito.
Very Junji Ito. But, that having been said, they were also very good at other aspects of horror.
Like being scary.
Like, yeah. Well, like, you know, they were really good with audio design.
It was the sense of dread. Like in the first game specifically, just the feeling of impending doom you got, the stronger you got, was amazing.
Yeah, like that as you got deeper and deeper into the game and shit, like you had more to deal with your problems than ever before, and your problems just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, the pacing, phenomenal. The set design, phenomenal. The audio design, phenomenal. The lighting was amazing. The guns felt fucking meaty.
Oh,
and
God,
that
so
stomp was like, you know, you really felt like you were, like...
Can you make that sound again?
Like, you know, like... It really felt like you were trying to crush the skull of this thing that is trying to kill you. Not an enemy in a video game. The thing trying to kill you, and you have it on the ground, and you're crushing its skull out of fear and panic and pure survival.
It was just so satisfying.
Every fucking... Like, that is why Dead Space was amazing. It wasn't the body horror. It was...
everything else.
The visceral, real feeling that the game gave you. And it was masterfully crafted. They brought that back in the second game. You still had that, like, kind of scary feeling, but it was a lot less about survival in the second game. Because the first game, that's what it was. Isaac, you know, he shows up and shit gets fucky real fast.
Also, a bit of a side note. Isaac Clarke is the only previously silent protagonist that I was okay with becoming voiced.
Yeah.
Although I kind of wish it was in opposite. I wish he was voiced originally and became silent because the dude was fucking traumatized.
Yeah, but, I mean, they needed that.
It still worked out great. Like, I thought it was fucking phenomenal when you, like, hear him, like, talking full sentences at the beginning of 2, and I'm just like, yo!
They picked a really good voice actor for him, too. It was a phenomenal performance.
And that voice actor... Beethoven. Okay, so I figure we should probably end pretty soon because this is actually going to be on the top end of longer chillins we did. But there is an apology I would like to make. I've held this opinion for the longest time that Goku is a bad dad, right? However, upon these last several months of reconsuming the Dragon Ball media, I realized I allowed myself to be tainted by the Abridged series.
Okay.
Because Goku is a phenomenal father.
Explain.
He has actively died for his children. And the reason, like, the whole training thing, like, going off, like, Chi-Chi's okay with it. For the first 5 years of Gohan's life between the ending of OG Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Goku was present. He was there the whole fucking time. The only reason he started leaving was, for one, he died. Trying to save his son, by the way.
Okay, I'll give him points.
And then when he came back to, like, he was gone for a year training to defeat the space fucking aliens that were coming to invade. And when he came back and saved his best friend, a Yoshi, and his son. That's one of my favorite Abridged jokes is, you're green. Are you a Yoshi? Yes, Goku. I'm a green fucking dinosaur. Anyway, so then he then he beats Vegeta. He's stuck in the hospital, and Gohan, feeling a sense of responsibility and wanting to bring back Piccolo, steps up to be like, yo, we need to go to Namek. I want to go to Namek. And like Chi-Chi's like, hell no. And then, like, Gohan's like, fucking Piccolo died for me. Go fuck yourself, Mom. And, like, Goku doesn't say anything. He's like, I get it. You're valid. You're valid, son.
Okay. But I feel like... So, for one, death in the Dragon Ball universe, right, doesn't have the same effect that death in our universe has.
That's true, but that's only in Z. Death did mean something in OG.
It did. But Z is when he's a father, and Z is when it doesn't have the same impact. Now, don't get me wrong. Dying sucks, but Goku's done it like a billion fucking times.
I think it's only twice, technically.
Still, that's far more than you should die.
I don't know. I mean, technically, Krillin's died like 4 times.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I understand making a sacrifice for your son, but that's a difference of being like, all right, I'm going to spend like a year in the hospital for my son versus like, I'm going to die for my son. Because that's what it is. They joke about it in later episodes of Dragon Ball about how they're like, Goku, you'll die. And he's just like, well, then get the Dragon Balls, bitch. Like, fucking...
So
he knows. He's
that,
aware.
That only happens in Super, not in Z.
But he is aware. That's the point. Is he knows that if he dies, it's not necessarily permanent, and he's not leaving anyone unprotected.
Oh no. Okay, so here's the thing. So a big issue people have with Super is that they feel like they went backwards with Goku's characterization, because Goku's whole thing in the Buu saga was he needs to prepare the next generation, because he and Vegeta and Piccolo aren't going to be around the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. So they need to be able to train the next generation to take over for them. And that was also partially the thing with the Cell saga, was he, after spending a year in the hyperbolic time chamber with the hypersonic lion tamer with Gohan, he thought, oh, Gohan can defend the Earth. But he didn't realize until Piccolo pointed out to him that Gohan doesn't want to fucking fight.
I'm going to let this go to 30 minutes, and then we're going to cut
Yeah.
it. But I have a counterpoint to that, okay? So, whereas people might feel that way, that's not how it is. And I have it for one fucking good reason and on good fucking authority. Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball, is just a retelling
Journey to the West.
of Journey to the West, in which Goku is Son Wukong.
Yeah. His name is literally Son Goku.
Who takes his name out of the Book of Death so that he never dies. It was from the beginning planned that Goku was going to be an immortal motherfucker. Now, I understand that in Z, he was talking about training the next generation, but I fully believe that that was not because he's not going to be around because he's dead. That's because he's moving on to bigger and better immortals.
So, yes, but no, and this is where me consuming all the other media... Akira Toriyama wanted Gohan to replace Goku.
Yes.
Goku was supposed to be written out after the Cell saga, but he realized the way that he had written because Totally Not Mark did a fucking phenomenal retrospective on the entirety of Z. Basically, it comes down to Gohan as a character, as written, is reactive. He cannot be the main character as he was. So because of that, he was like, I have to bring Goku back.
And regardless, it's back on track to where we were. He's back to being Son fucking Wukong. And they're doing this very clearly in Super, where they're eventually going to have, I think, Goku take over as the Destroyer, possibly. Either him or Vegeta.
So they keep saying, so Goku has very explicitly been like, no, I will not be the Destroyer. And Vegeta is learning destruction, but and it would be more likely to be Vegeta than it would be Goku, because Goku's straight up learning angel techniques.
Yeah. So, like, did you not silence your phone?
Absolutely not.
What?
I don't care anymore.
All these years. This is insane. Anyway, Goku's a bad dad. I stand by it.
No.
I stand by it.
and I recant my previous statements. However, I did also recently start doing my yearly rewatch of Gundam Wing. Man, Noin is the most incompetent bitch. Half the shit could have been, like, she could have killed Wu Fei, and then she was just like, a kid, and then Wu Fei goes, oh, a woman, that makes sense. Goodbye, everyone.